It's not surprising that these two teams have found themselves in the pole positions for the SEC East and battling it out today. But that doesn't mean these two teams haven't faced their fair share of adversity this season. Georgia started the season 0-2 before rattling off 8 straight victories and getting themselves to a point where they could now end up being the SEC East champions if they win today and then finish off the season with a win over Georgia Tech. Quarterback Carson Beck has found his groove and matured in front of our eyes and has gradually improved to the point that he has put himself in this position where Georgia can still win the SEC East despite their slow start to the season. Georgia is looking to make their 6th appearance in 7 years in the SEC championship game. Standing in their way is an FSU team playing in their first season in the SEC. Florida State had plenty of expectations coming into the year, and the road got a little tougher after a 20-point loss to LSU. FSU is on a 7-game winning streak of their own now. This has left them battle-tested after having to go down to the wire and delivering key moments of close games. That's going to be a dump off to Xavier Leggett, and he is hit and fumbles the football, and that is DJ Lundy who comes up with it. A look for Florida State. Travis looks now, hands off to Benson, bounces off one tackler, throws another down. 12 seconds remaining. Shotgun snap to Travis. He fires to Deuce Spann. Those previous games can only mean so much. The SEC East title will come down to what happens on the field today and nothing else. And it's time to find out where that title will come home to in the SEC East. It's Georgia. It's Florida State. It's game time. And now we are ready for opening kickoff of this one between Florida State and Georgia. Alex Mastromano boots one all the way to the end zone, and there's going to be a return from Dominic Lovett, finding his way all the way across the 30-yard line, and that's where Georgia will start with the ball on their opening drive of this hotly contested contest that we expect today. Carson Beck in the shotgun, hands it off to Kendall Milton to the outside, and that Florida State defense swarms early, stops Milton for no gain. 2nd and 11. He's going to have his 2 halfback look. They've got plenty of them on their roster, might as well use them. But instead, Beck throws this one away early and forces an early 3rd and long. Beck drops back. He finds his man Ladd McConkey, old reliable, who gets him 12 yards when he needs 11. And that's just him coming up huge where he need it. Carson Beck, Kendall Milton next to him in the shotgun, ready for the snap. Takes a nice 3-step drop. Can't find a man, and he's getting surrounded and not brought down early, but it is Gilbert Edmond who cleans that one up, gets the sack in the TFL, and puts Georgia in a 2nd and long again, as they are not having a lot of success on early downs, and that's clearly not going to be a formula for success against any team. The 2nd and 17 drop back, he's going to hit Kendall Milton, who will make up 11 yards, but they'll still need 6 on 3rd down if they want to make a conversion near midfield. 2 halfback backfield again for Georgia on 3rd down. Good look for them. He fires and hits Ra Thomas, who gets 14 yards near the 40-yard line, and Georgia is in business. The offense has looked smooth so far, a couple of early down failures, but it's looked okay so far. But on this 1st down play, it's not a sack, it's an interception for Renardo Green. He's bringing it past the 50, the 40, breaks a tackle past the 30, the 20, and gets brought down inside the 10-yard line, and Renardo Green comes up with a huge interception to set up his Florida State teammates. He was just able to fight to the ball a little bit better in a matchup against Ladd McConkey, who we had talked about earlier in the drive, and he was able to put a nice return, ends up breaking a tackle from Carson Beck on the return, and gets all the way inside the 10-yard line. And now the Florida State offense gets to start in prime position in something they definitely want to get points out of, but if you're going to start inside the 10, 7 points against this Georgia team would feel awfully good. They're going to start with a run to the outside with Benson. Benson will get not a whole lot there, but definitely not a negative. Next play on 2nd and goal for Florida State. Dumps it off of Winston Wright. He'll take 6 yards and set them up inside the 5-yard line for a 3rd and goal for the Florida State offense. Handoff to Benson, and Benson will work about 1 or 2 yards maybe, but they're still a couple yards short, and Florida State's going to make the decision to kick the field goal, take the points. They go up 3-0 early. Georgia takes over with 5:22 remaining in this first quarter. Beck under center, tries to make another throw, and this one isn't even close. That's an uncompetitive throw that now puts Georgia in a 2nd and 10, and those early down failures are starting to pile up for Georgia. Handoff to Kendall Milton. He finds 10 yards on a 2nd and 10, and that gives a new set of downs to Georgia and their offense. Carson Beck with the drop back. He hits Ra Thomas. He'll get near the 50-yard line, and Georgia is back to familiar territory of where they had a turnover on their last drive. We'll see if they can right some of those demons here. Carson Beck makes a change at the line, fakes the handoff, and then throws another ball down the sideline, and he has not had a great sense of touch, and that's another first down where they pick up no yards, and it's a 2nd and 10 for Georgia. Man in motion, looks like Brock Bowers on this play. Fakes the handoff to Milton on the play action, runs to his right, and he hits Dominic Lovett, but it's broken up by Fentrell Cypress, who breaks that one up, one of the better cornerbacks in the country, making a big play. 3rd down drop back for Beck. He hits his receiver, Rosemy Jock Saint, for 4 yards, but that will force a punt on 4th down, and FSU gets the ball back 1st and 10. They try to run it with Toafili up the middle. He'll lose 2 yards. Georgia triggers up the middle, mainly Jamon Dumas Johnson making a great play. 2nd and 12 for Florida State. Travis on the drop back. He's trying to throw a touch throw, and it gets deflected by Morlock up in the air. Another Georgia defender hits it. Luckily, it hits the ground and gives Florida State a chance on 3rd and 12. Jordan runs out to his right, looking down the field. He's going to make a throw, seeing if he can hit Johnny Wilson, but the Georgia DB, Javon Bullard, one of the best in the country at his position, breaks that big play up and forces Florida State to punt. They will get some great field position of this, where Georgia will now start near the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. Drop back for Beck, and he'll throw another ball that doesn't even get near a receiver's hands, and he's a little jittery clearly in this big game. Beck on the play action fires and hits Bowers on that one. It only seems like 1st down where he does not have a good sense of what he's doing, but then he fires a strike like this one to Bowers for 28 and puts them in prime position and near the red zone and definitely in field goal range if they want it. 1st and 10 for Georgia, under center for Beck. Makes a nice drop. He's got plenty of time from his offensive line, and he'll hit Dominic Lovett for 11 yards. And that gives Georgia a new set of downs, 1st and 10. Kendall Milton, his backfield mate, gets the pitch, and Florida State triggers well on that one to stop him for a 1-yard loss, 2nd and 11. Milton still in the backfield. He hasn't found a nice running lane yet, but they're still going to have to use him. There's Ladd McConkey. He makes a nice 10-yard slant catch to get them to a 3rd and 1 and makes it where Florida State does not know. Are they getting run or pass here? Instead, they get run up the middle by Milton, and he will get some yardage and make this an inches play, but it's still 4th and inches. Georgia going to go for it, figuring you're going to need 7s instead of 3s in a game like this. Minute 45 to go. It looks like it was going to be a read option, and Carson Beck kept it, but Akeem Dent triggered incredibly well. Stopped him right in his tracks, and Florida State was not going to let a read option beat them. Played very well, and the Florida State defense, something we criticized them a lot for this season, is not making plays, and they have done that today in the first quarter. It's just a matter of if this offense is going to be able to handle it. There's a run to Benson, and Benson will only get 1 yard at the middle, and his 3 rushes for 2 yards is not precluding a very nice game and at least a very nice start so far. Here's a handoff to Toafili, and he gets nothing, and the Florida State run offense is sputtering very quickly, and they're going to have to go more to the pass. Throws it out to Keon Coleman, big receiver on the left side for 12 yards, and Florida State has a new set of downs. There's going to be another screen pass to Keon Coleman. 2 passes in a row hit his hands, but this time he's going to lose a yard, so his 2 catches for 11 yards now gets brought down a little bit. And now that ends our first quarter. Florida State takes a 3-0 lead to the end of the first quarter. Obviously, you like that you're in the lead, but there have been some missed opportunities. Your defense has played well enough and put out that 0 for Georgia, but your offense is going to need some more production to give you a little more breathing room. This time they're going to run with Benson, this time for 5 yards, his best run of the day, and hopefully you're going to be able to wear down that Georgia defensive front and open up some bigger lanes. 3rd and 7, drop back for Travis, and it seems like you didn't even want to go through his progressions. That one hits the ground, and Georgia is going to get the ball back after a punt. 1st down for Georgia and Carson Beck, 45-yard line. This is an outside run to Milton, and Shaheem Brown was able to beat the tackle to the spot. He did not get his hands on him. It looked like he had great blocking lanes if that block was able to happen, but instead Shaheem Brown makes a play to make him lose a yard. Beck scanning and cannot hit his man. He is hit as he throws, and now a 3rd and 11 for Georgia as they are struggling to find their offensive flow early on, and they're going to need to find some kind of answers to what Florida State is giving them defensively. Beck throws this one, and it's Milton out of the backfield. He'll get 16 yards, and that's a first down for Georgia. They're back to the 30-yard line. They've had some disappointment so far. They need to exercise some of those demons. Here's a hit to Ladd McConkey, 11 yards, and a first down. It looks like there's a little more success happening on early downs, which should make things a lot easier for Georgia if they let it happen. 7:13 remaining for Beck. He drops back. He hits Kendall Milton, who hasn't had a lot of success rushing, but has had a nice game receiving the football and been a good target for Beck. There's DeJuan Edwards. He'll get his first carry of the game, this time for 4 yards when you need 3. First down, Georgia. They'll get a 1st and goal from about the 10. Edwards gets another run. He'll take 2 yards and now sets him up at about the 7 or 8 yard line for Georgia. 3-0 still stands the score with about 6:18 to go. Carson Beck in the shotgun again. Kendall Milton gets the fake handoff. Beck powers forward on a run but only gets 2 yards, and they're still about 6 yards from pay dirt. 3rd and goal for Georgia. Beck drops back. He's got good protection from the offensive line. Hits DeJuan Edwards and gets them to about between the 1 and 2 yard line. But this 4th and goal does not scare Georgia. They are going to go for it again. I admire Georgia still staying to their guns, that they need 7s. They are not going to settle for these 3s. Man in motion. Here's Beck. He fires to the side of the end zone, and that is Brock Bowers with an absolutely acrobatic, insane catch. Brock Bowers is one of the most amazing players in the country and comes up huge there, proving he is not just the best tight end in the country, but one of the best players with that kind of acrobatic catch. Georgia's up 7-3. Florida State drops back on their first play, dumps off to Keon Coleman for the drive. That's a 4-yard catch, 2nd and 6 now for Florida State as they face a 7-3 deficit that they're going to see for the first time. And again, a run gets snuffed out, a loss of 5 yards for Florida State. They're back to a 3rd and 10, and they have just not been able to sustain anything so far, and it's looked ugly. Jordan Travis gets hit as he throws, but hits Kentron Portier, makes a beautiful catch for 13 yards. Florida State now has a fresh set of downs, and maybe they'll be able to get some offensive momentum off this. 1st and 10 for Travis. He'll hit Johnny Wilson on a crossing pattern. 5 yards gives them a 2nd and 5. Florida State starting to get the beginnings of something, but you really haven't seen them hit a stride offensively yet, and they're definitely going to need that, not just because they're losing, but they're facing a team like Georgia. Benson able to get about 2 yards up the middle, giving them a more manageable 3rd and 3. Fakes the handoff to Benson. Travis following his blockers, and he'll get about 13 yards on this one after the run. 7-3 Georgia still. Florida State approaching field goal range and maybe looking to make this one of the last possessions of the half so they can get out of this one cleanly and maybe even have a lead. He's going to throw to the sidelines after he ran out to the right to Winston Wright. Gets 12 yards. And Florida State has not been pretty. It's looked a little hectic, but they've been picking up first downs now, and I think they're getting a little more comfortable out there. After a 1-yard run to Benson, Florida State has a 2nd and 9. About 2 minutes to go. Travis on the drop back. He steps up and hits Benson out of the backfield, and just like Kendall Milton, he can be a pretty valuable guy in the pass game and does not have to be a rusher out of the running back position. Travis this time going to run it to Toafili to the outside. They get a little bit of blocking, and he has more room than he's had all day for 7 yards, and that's the best rush their running back has had. 2nd and 3 for Florida State. Minute 24 remaining in this half. Run to Benson. He does not have a cutback lane. He breaks off a few tacklers, and that'll be the hardest 1 yard you've ever worked for. 3rd and 2 Florida State. Time ticking down on the play clock. Play action fake. Travis runs out to the right. He hits Keziah Holmes, but Holmes is still 2 yards short. They pick up barely anything on that play, and Florida State, following the script from Georgia, knows they can't take another 3 points down here. 4th and 2, they're going to go for it. Travis drops back. He hits Deuce Spann, who is not able to turn into the end zone, but does get 4 yards and gives them a 1st and goal from about the 1. Run up the middle by Travis, and they're going to say that he was in. Touchdown, Florida State. But Kirby Smart is already going to throw the challenge on this one. The booth is calling down too. They're going to review it. And upon further review, it looks like Jordan Travis did not get into the end zone. Maybe a foot, but the ball was clearly never crossing the plane. And Florida State is going to have to go and do this one again. Unsurprisingly so. 2nd and goal, down to about the inches yard line with Benson and Toafili in the backfield. Travis is going to try to pass, and it gets broken up this time again by a couple of Georgia defenders. 3rd and goal, really wanting to cash in here if you can. This time a handoff to Benson, counter look, banks back out to the outside. He will get into the end zone. That's got to feel good. There have not been a ton of rushing lanes today, but that has been a key part of Florida State's offense, is being able to use the run game in short yardage situations, and they're able to deliver there on a 3rd and goal when you absolutely need it. 10-7 Florida State, coming down to the end of the half. Let's see how aggressive Georgia's going to be. They're going to run the ball with Kendall Milton up the middle, and that's going to be it for the rest of the half. Florida State is going to go into halftime with a 10-7 lead in a game that both teams would probably, if you gave them the truth serum, would say, probably not our best game. And the stats kind of show it too. Florida State is lucky to be up 10-7. They are getting beat in a lot of categories. The only reason they have the rush yards advantage is because of the Jordan Travis run, and they've just been more consistent trying to pound the ball. Georgia's been more explosive. They found a lot of success in their pass game. If Georgia's able to find that balance in the second half, it could be very dangerous for Florida State. What Florida State has going for them, they have no turnovers. So let's see how they respond in the second half. Florida State starts the second half with a run up the middle by Benson. He'll only find 2 yards. 2nd and 8. Snap to Travis, and he's going to roll out to the right looking for some room. He'll turn up the field and tries to fire the throw. It looked like he had some running room, and he tried to hit Johnny Wilson instead, who'd made a great effort, but still could not get his feet in bounds. It's a 3rd and 8 now. 8 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. Travis runs out to the right, trying to look for room. He's hit as he throws, and Chaz Chambliss almost picked that pass off, forces a 4th down and a punt. Georgia now has the ball with their 2-back look, 1st and 10. Snap to Beck. He's got plenty of time. His offensive line does a great job for him. Ladd McConkey takes that 9-yard catch and gives Georgia a 2nd and 1 opportunity. Kendall Milton in the backfield once again. Making a change at the line, Beck looking pretty comfortable out there. He steps up and tries to throw it into the flats. Just not a good decision, and Akeem Dent has had a nice game today. Breaks that pass up. Hopefully he comes down with that play more often than not. But instead, Kendall Milton runs the ball up the middle, gets the 1st down, and Georgia now has their 1st down. This time a run to Edwards, and Edwards runs out to the outside, then cuts up field for 3 yards, giving them a 2nd and 7, at least giving some breathing room on those early downs that have been so stressful for them. Beck drops back. He hits Brock Bowers on the sidelines. Another great catch gives them a 1st down, and Georgia looks like a lot of their weapons are stepping up, and Beck is having a little more control of the offense since his sputtery start. He steps up. He hits Ladd McConkey on a beautiful throw for 21 yards. 1st and goal, Georgia. 6:20 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Beck drops back again. He fires across the middle. This time, he hits his receiver on a beautifully run route. That's a touchdown for Georgia. And that was absolutely well done for Marcus Rosemay Jacques Saint. Touchdown, Georgia, and now they are up 14-10 as Carson Beck comes out of the second half with a beautiful start and looks like he is going to put the pressure on Florida State in a 14-10 game. This time they're going to run to Benson up the middle as they have in a lot of early downs, and he will only have 2 yards for him. Man in motion for Florida State this time. They're going to fake the handoff to him. Travis going to run out to the right. He hits Jaheim Bell for his first catch of the day. 10 yards and a fresh set of downs. Florida State needing to answer after that play by Georgia, who has taken control of this one up 14-10. 1st down. Fires across the field. He hits Keon Coleman on a very difficult throw, but he uncorked that one for 16 yards. Keon Coleman has his 4th catch of the day. 1st down, Florida State. Trey Benson in the backfield. 1st and 10. Travis hands off to Benson. He has a little more room than usual at the middle, this time for 7 yards, and maybe, just maybe, they're starting to wear down this defense and starting to make some progress in a game like this. You still need it. It's still just a 1-possession game. Fakes the handoff to his running back, and Travis is brought down and corralled out there, and it's brought down to a 3rd and 4 with a tackle for loss by Chaz Chambliss. 3rd and 4. Travis runs out to the right, looking for a play, and he gets hit as he throws. That'll go and hit the ground on a 4th and 4. Florida State now has a decision, and they're going to go for it. This is kind of a dead zone. You're down by 4. You're going to need to keep possessions. They're going to go for it. Travis throws, and he is picked off by Jamon Dumas Johnson. He's not going to be touched. He flies down the sideline. What a beautiful read by the linebacker on that play. He just took Jordan Travis to the house. An amazingly athletic play. There is the pick 6 for the Georgia linebacker, Jamon Dumas Johnson on the play, and Georgia takes a 21-10 lead as they now have a 2-possession lead against Florida State. Travis first play back, next drive, hits Deuce Spann for 12 yards, and now they're going to need to start making things happen. A little more pressure on them. Here's a bubble screen, and Spann puts a nice spin move on the Georgia defender. He'll get 20 yards all on his lonesome, and they've been able to use Deuce Spann for some instant offense as he's helped out. This time they're going to try an outside run to Trey Benson, but instead Jalen Walker able to make the move on the tackle to get the tackle for loss, and Florida State faces a 2nd and 12 on this very crucial drive. Drop back for Travis, off balance he hits Kentron Portier. That'll only be good for 2 yards, and a 3rd and long still awaits them. 3rd and 10, looking at about under 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Travis trying to find room in the pocket, and he throws a very dangerous ball, and who else but Jamon Dumas Johnson knocking down a pass, forcing a punt for Florida State. Here's Alex Mastromano. He's been very busy today. Might as well get a look at him. Here's his 4th down punt, and this one is going to come up just a little too long. It's a touchback for Georgia, and that's where they are going to start the drive. Man in motion is Dominic Lovett. Carson Beck dropping back. He fires and hits Brock Bowers on a corner route, which has been very popular today. But those 19 yards are all the same. Fresh set of downs for Georgia. 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Drop back for Carson Beck. Trying to find a man. He hits Kendall Milton, and he is lit up by Kalen DeLoach, who will make him lose a yard. It's 2nd and 11 at this juncture. Carson Beck under center. He drops back again. Has plenty of room. Florida State's defender rolls off of him. He can't even bring him down for the sack, and instead Beck throws it away, doesn't lose yardage, lives to fight another day. 3rd and 11 for Carson Beck and company. His drop back, great protection, hits Dominic Lovett. Not very aggressive on that play, and looks like he just didn't want to make a mistake. They give the ball back to Florida State, and they're going to let their highly touted defense attack Florida State again. Another run to Benson, another no-gainer. This defense is keyed in at every moment that Florida State wants to run the ball. Jordan Travis in the pocket. Finds his man, and he drops it. Looks like Keon Coleman could not keep it, and this Georgia defense has just out-physicaled them at every juncture and has made things so difficult for the offense to get any kind of momentum. 3rd down for Jordan Travis and company. Stays in the pocket, fires over the middle to Winston Wright, who fights for the ball and is able to get 12 yards on that play, luckily. But nothing has come easy for them, and everything has looked like a struggle, and we'll see if Florida State is able to turn this around. Still only down by 11, but time is definitely ticking for them. This time they're going to bring Darian Williamson in motion and hand the ball off to him. He'll only get 2 yards. It's definitely not just a Trey Benson thing. This entire running game is sputtering, and that brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter. It is a 21-10 game. The SEC's title still hangs in the balance, and it looks like Georgia has control of this game. But let's not count out Florida State. They have had a knack for those late-game heroics, and this is what it all comes down to. One more quarter to decide it all. 2nd and 8, Florida State. Coming first play out of the quarter break, Travis runs out to the right, looking for some room. He's going to throw it deep, and just not an advisable throw. There was no way he was going to be able to get that to his receiver in that spot, and Jordan Travis trying to play some hero ball. 3rd and 8, tries to step up and throw a slant, and instead Florida State is just going to give it up. I think they're going to have to punt it back to Georgia and live to fight another day. Still only down 11. Your defense is playing well enough that getting a stop is not totally out of the question. Carson Beck in the shotgun this time after the audible. He's going to fire to the left. He hits one of his other tight ends, Oscar Delp, this time for 9 yards, and gives the Georgia offense a manageable 2nd and 1. This time a run by Kendall Milton. He powers through for 10 yards. He has not been very featured in the offense today, but he has done what he can with the opportunities, and he's probably going to be tasked with running a lot of plays in the 4th quarter to try and run this game out. There's a slant to Ra Thomas. He'll take a lot of that himself for 20 yards. And this Georgia offense just looks like they have too many weapons for Florida State to cover them all. This time another out pattern to a tight end for 9 yards. That time it's Brock Bowers. That brings up a 2nd and 11. Another quick pass to Bowers. And Florida State cannot defend these quick passes. They are just getting the balls out to these dynamic guys way too quickly. And Georgia's putting themselves in a very good spot each and every play. 7:40 remaining. Beck drops back. This time he hits DeJuan Edwards for 2 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 8. Kendall Milton gets the carry. Powering through. Runs his way. Rumbling all the way to the end zone. That's from 14 yards out. And Kendall Milton stumbles into the end zone for a touchdown. And that puts Georgia in a prime position of being up 28-10. 3-score lead. 7 minutes and 21 seconds to go. If there ever was a pressure drive, this is it for Florida State. They are going to need to cash in. It's now or never really for this offense. They've got to find something that works. Play action for Travis. He shakes off a Georgia defender, almost trips over him, and he's just going to throw the ball away. And he is not out of the tackle box. That's going to be intentional grounding. And the first play of the Florida State drive takes an unfortunate turn, and it's going to make things a lot more difficult. 2nd and 28 for Florida State. Lawrence Toafili gets the carry. He loses 3 yards. And now got to drop that 3rd and 31 play that you think could help make the conversion. Travis in the shotgun, of course. Going to see if he can get the ball to one of his big play receivers on this play. Travis in the shotgun. Fires into double coverage. They don't let that ball hit Johnny Wilson's hands at all. That's going to go to Carson Beck. He'll get the ball back after a punt. Nothing you can do on 4th and 31. Carson Beck in shotgun. He'll fire. He hits Brock Bowers for 10 yards. And ever since the first quarter, Carson Beck's accuracy has dramatically improved. He's been making some big-time throws, and it shows out there. Carson Beck this time throws into traffic. It's knocked away. Looked like it was Jerrion Jones who got in on that play, and that'll knock it down and give Georgia a 2nd and 10. Man in motion. Carson Beck drops back again. Gets good protection. He'll throw this one away, not wanting to force anything. He's got plenty of options out there, and the clock is on his side. 6:09 remaining. Beck drops back, moves around the pocket. He'll hit Kendall Milton, who will fight all the way for a first down of the backfield. And that has to feel like a backbreaker for the Florida State defense that's played decently, but they have just not been able to get any more big plays after that Renardo Green interception. After another almost 10 yards to Brock Bowers, Dominic Lovett's in motion. Carson Beck drops back, letting things develop, throws to the corner, and it's Shyheim Brown diving to the rescue, and he came down with that ball. What an amazing play, beating the Georgia defender, diving in front of them, keeping control of the ball, and Shyheim Brown is pumped, and he gives the ball back to the offense, and they have got to do something here. First play, step up and throw to Kentron Portier, has a little bit of run after the catch, and Florida State runs to the line after a big 20-plus yard gain, 1st and 10. Trying to hit Darian Williamson on a little bit of a tunnel screen, he'll fight his way for 4 more yards, and Florida State is going to need some scores quick. You're down by 18. Any way you cut it, you're going to need 3 scores. Got to find them here. Travis runs out to the right, escaping pressure, throws it away. It's 3rd and 6 now for Jordan Travis, the veteran. Travis fires, and it's picked off. Does not make a good decision. Tried to force it to Deuce Spann, and the result is a Jamon Dumas Johnson interception, his 2nd of the day, and he has been an absolute terror on the defensive side. He ran that route better than Deuce Spann did. What an amazing play from that defender, and proving why he is the best linebacker in the nation, without a doubt. And Travis is getting a talking to by Norvell, even though he's a seasoned veteran. Norvell's still trying to tell him, hey, this is what you're seeing and this is what you're doing. We've got to make better plays, and it feels like it has slipped away from Florida State now. And next play, Carson Beck tries to force one to a receiver on a curl route, and Renardo Green gets his 2nd interception of the day, breaking off Brock Bowers on the attempted tackle. And now Jordan Travis and company will get the ball back right away and get a chance to avenge some of their wrongdoings on that last drive. Travis gets the shotgun snap. He'll fire a corner route, and the Georgia DB is able to get in front of that, knock it down, and Florida State and company still down by 18. Travis in the pocket, fires down the field and almost had Deuce Spann, who had his man beat by a couple of steps. He's had a nice day, but Travis needed to throw a better ball. Working his way to the left, fires and gets hit. Johnny Wilson will get this down to the 22-yard line, and Travis clearly feels like he is getting beat up out there. He'll stay in the game, battling through the pain. Travis taking the snap, and he's going to get run down before he can throw the ball away. That'll keep the possession alive, but after that play, Tate Rodemaker comes in the game, hands the ball off to Rodney Hill. Hopefully Jordan Travis is okay. They're looking at his ribs on the sideline. Looks like he wants to get back out there. Looks like he will on the next play, but Rodemaker is going to have one more play out there. They're going to try and throw a screen pass to Dustin Hill, who will get about 3 yards. And now for the 4th and goal, the very crucial, obviously have to have this one if you want any shot. Travis comes back out, 4th and goal time. Travis gets the snap. He's going to start rolling out to the right, looking for a man, anything open, fires to the side of the end zone, and that is not catchable. He is not on the same page as his receivers. Georgia takes over, and they are going to win this game today. There's 3:11 left. Georgia just needs to put the finishing touches. Might as well throw a play-action pass to your freshman tight end, Pierce Spurlin III, and they will get out of the very dangerous territory, and they will be able to run the ball with Kendall Milton for 4 yards, setting up a 2nd and 6 for the Georgia offense. Another run to Milton. He's going to keep it very straight line speed, just trying to work through traffic as best as possible. Loses a yard, but 3rd and 7 keeps the clock moving. Georgia just wanting to get out of this one without any injuries and just move on to next week where they'll need to take care of business against Georgia Tech. Florida State gets the ball back, but I wouldn't expect anything monumental to happen. This time they're going to run it to Benson, still trying to work the ball at the middle on 2nd and 5. Then a carry to Keziah Holmes, one of his few touches on the day, but he'll take 2 yards, and Florida State will probably have one more play. We'll see if they even snap it. They do. Try to run the ball up the middle to Lawrence Toafili. He comes up inches short of the 1st down, and that feels somewhat poetic in a game like this where Florida State has come up short. Jamon Dumas Johnson with a spectacular game, one of the most take over a game performances you'll see from a defender, and absolutely hats off to Georgia. Well, another fun one. And by fun, I mean, I think a good perspective for us to take is this team was not meant to win an SEC conference title. There were too many talented teams, and when you look at the stats from today's game, they absolutely shut us down. And look at this running game. 15 rushes for 20 yards, not going to do it. All of our receivers have this big play and dynamic potential. Look at everybody's long for the day. There were some of those, but nothing that was truly game-breaking. And Georgia took it to us, and it's a good way to look at this and say at least the sliders are doing what they're supposed to. We had some tackles for loss. We were actually pretty active back there. The defense played well. I put none of this on the defense. Giving up 28 to Georgia and really 21 because of the pick 6 on the defensive side is all on them. And then when you look at Georgia's stats, Carson Beck, that first quarter, he was making some bad choices and just was throwing the ball away a lot. And then he got a little loose in the 4th quarter when they already had the game in hand, but absolutely sensational game from Carson Beck. On the running game front, they didn't need it, which is scary, but they had 42 yards rushing and they were fine with it because they were able to dice us up in the passing game. And look at all of the nice receiving threats that they had, that they were able to make those plays. And Brock Bowers was very steady, and he absolutely killed us, and he was a threat that we could not neutralize at all, and not very shocking as far as that's concerned, and honestly not a game I'm surprised we lost. They were a better team, and this is a team that deserves to get to play for a conference championship game, and I'm excited to see how they're going to end up doing in that game. And obviously, let's give all of the credit in the world to Jamon Dumas Johnson, one of my favorite games I have seen a player play out there. He was a game wrecker, and he made sure we could do nothing. He was dynamic, he was amazing, and the entire Georgia defense. Look at all of those pass deflections and tackles for losses that they had today. They were all over it. I had no answers. I did not have a good plan. We were lucky to be up 10-7, and then we scored nothing in the second half, and that's kind of how it goes. I'm obviously disappointed that we lost, but I'm not surprised, like I said. And then we take our final look at the team stats, and those tell a pretty accurate story. We beat them in the running game by 3 yards when they wanted to make no attempt, and we made every attempt to make it happen. And then they had more first downs. They actually turned the ball over more than we did, which is shocking, and we had the ball for 11 more minutes. So that's a pretty surprising turn. Just kind of when you look at it that way, that you maybe could conclude, oh, maybe Florida State did actually win that game. But the fact that we ran for less than 50 yards and didn't even pass for 200 yards tells you we had an anemic offense and a pretty poor performance. And it's unfortunate it came in a game like this, but we played the way we did today because we faced probably the best team in the nation and a team that could still end up winning the national championship. But thank you for tuning in. That's why we have a dynasty like this that is not a just run through everybody once you have a good enough team. I have one of the probably top 5 teams in terms of overall, and I went 10-2 probably. We have to still beat Florida next week, but I'm going to bring out all the stops to try and beat Florida and get us to 10 wins. But it is not going to give us an SEC title this year, and that's okay. I think that makes for an interesting season, and it's going to give us a road for the next season of what we're striving for and trying to do it with a new group, and we'll see how all that goes. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and go Noles.